Without restricting the amount of food I ate, my confidence went through the roof before I even finished my first meal. If you clicked on this video, you're probably, well, for one, you're a femboy, or a submissive man, whichever of the two. I'm going to use femboy just to describe both those terms from this point onward. If you clicked on this video, you're probably a femboy who's a bit chubby around the edges. You probably have a bit more body fat than you would like to. But at the same time, and you know that building muscle is how people get confidence at the gym, yada yada yada, but you probably don't want to build muscle. You don't want the extremely muscular look. You want less fat and some well-toned, well-defined muscles, but not that big. I was not in the same boat, so I actually did want big muscles, but I inadvertently discovered a way to help people who just want to slim down and not really, gain a lot of muscle. And the reason I inadvertently discovered this is because I was rendered unable to continue with my gym routine because of a problem in the nerves in my arms. And as a result, I'm basically, instead of going to the gym, I'm restricted to just doing stretching exercises with this band and this thing my physical therapist recommended. But no, despite the fact that I went to the gym for a little bit, I made very little progress. I was a beginner, for the whole few months. What you see here is basically the minimal fat, basically no muscle body you see here is pretty much what I've always had. So this can be done with no gym stuff. There will be no calorie tracking. Rest assured, I will teach you how to lose fat without any calorie tracking. You're not going to have to know how many calories you're eating. You're not going to have to restrict your daily diet to this many calories, this meal to this many calories, and so on and so forth. And the goal here is to give you a physique that looks athletic to the average person. A physique that looks athletic to the average person. So an athletic looking physique to you. Now athletic is different from muscular. You can't imagine all athletes as being muscular. I used to do that, but if you're in high school, pay attention to the guys you know who are in sports teams. They're not, very rarely are the people in sports teams huge hulking muscular guys. They look like regular guys just with a bit of muscle tone essentially. Some of them have a decent portion of body fat. And another good example, you're not a girl obviously, but look at the female athletes in your high school. And if you're not in high school, just look up high school athletes and you'll see what I'm talking about. Remember what the female athletes look like. They don't look impressive at all. They literally, if you looking at a female high school athlete, I literally cannot distinguish them from a normal girl. So this is basically what I'm trying to get you to. It's it's a body type that is much more impressive the older you get. When you get to your 20s, if you already are in your 20s or 30s, and you see someone with a slightly athletic physique, everyone thinks they're ripped. People who go to the gym have higher standards. Brad Pitt from Fight Club is a good example. Just look up Brad Pitt Fight Club and look at that body that he has. That's essentially the body I'm trying to get you. Now, from the perspective of someone who goes to the gym, he has no muscle. That's literally just a regular body, but with no fat. It's a regular body with low body fat. That's essentially what I'm getting you towards. The regular muscle level you have now as a normal human being is enough to look muscular if we just reduce the fat. So that's the goal we're getting to. Make sure to watch until the end for a shocking list of Lewis-approved foods. 2 years ago, 2021, around Halloween, I was in the university library of my university, shockingly enough. I was sitting there trying to do some work. Not successfully. The work was already late. But yeah, so I was sitting there trying to do some work that was already late for my Irish literature class, I believe. And as I was trying to work, not even really trying, like I was texting this girl that I was talking to at the time. She was watching Home Alone for the first time ever. She'd never seen the movie before. And first, spoiler alert, she thought the movie was terrible. She literally texted me, like, I can't believe this is a beloved movie by everyone. Like, it sucks. But anyways, as she was texting me about Home Alone, she really, really disliked the kid. She did not like the main character at all. And one thing that I specifically remember was she texted me, this kid's eating cheese pizza. Of course he's a cheese pizza kind of kid. And I didn't really understand that. I was like, what do you mean? What's bad about cheese pizza? I like cheese pizza. It's usually my pizza of choice. And she responded, well, yeah, you're a picky eater. Cheese pizza is something that I specifically associate with picky eaters. Like, if you're not a picky eater, there's really no reason to eat cheese pizza. And stuff like that. And so this was the beginning of her criticizing my dietary habits. And this girl that I liked criticizing my dietary habits is eventually what led to me making a change in my diet. The next time was, it was around the same time, let's say like a week or two later. A week or two later, middle of November, I was at the CVS near my university. It was in the downtown area. And I was getting myself some supplies because I was sick. I would eventually have to go home because it was a fever, but I didn't know it at the time. I was getting some supplies, and as I was getting supplies, I looked at like the counter where they have like the checkout counter because there were some people in line ahead of me. I was looking at the checkout counter where they have like a bunch of confectionery items. I was trying to sound sophisticated, and that word came to mind. So I was looking at the confectionery items, and I saw something I'd never seen before. A Fruity Pebbles bar, and I snatched that mother right up. And let me tell you, it was delicious. Like, to this day, oh my god, it was like overloaded with sugar. I don't know how it would taste to me now, but back then it was amazing. And I sent her a picture of this because it was basically like one of those like relationships where like you and the like me and the girl were like obsessed. Like I was constantly texting her throughout the day, constantly sending her pictures. Same with me. So, I sent her a picture of like when I got home, I sent her a picture of my haul. Like my cough drops, my this, my that, and my Fruity Pebbles bar. And she responded, "A Fruity Pebbles bar? You are an absolute child." Laughing emoji with the tears coming out. She didn't say laughing emoji with the tears coming out. She put that in the message, the emoji itself. And she went on a long like talk about how like if I want sweets, like she could make something, like there's healthy chocolate like at stores. It's actually really good. It's like high class chocolate. I could show you some today if I hadn't just finished it today and thrown it away, the wrapper. But, yeah. That was the second event. And the third event that I recall was 2022, beginning of the next term, so February. Yeah, it was like into the next term. A little bit before I started going to the gym, so February. In the dining hall. I was walking in the dining hall, texting her, of course, because we were still texting and sending lots of pictures to each other. And I mentioned to her that I had a glass of juice. And I was saying this, like, as a proud fact. Because I was like, look, I'm not getting soda anymore. Now I'm just getting orange juice. And she was very critical of that. She was like, that has a lot of sugar too. And then later in the evening I talked about how I was drinking a chocolate milk in the evening before bed, and how that was a daily thing. I drank chocolate milk like once a day and before bed, and she was like, that sounds like a really good way to get diabetes. So yeah, she basically responded that like even though soda's the worst offender, like The processed sweet fruit juice that you see in stores and even chocolate milk are like also extremely sugary and bad for you. And it was basically like, so what am I supposed to do? Just drink water? It's crazy how different my mindset was back then. But anyways, this led to me adopting the very simple strategy of overcoming being a picky eater, where I never tracked my calories. Well, I did much later on, but that's not necessary. I never tracked my calories at the beginning, never restricted the amount of food I was eating. All I did was remove things piece by piece from my diet, and eventually started adding some other things piece by piece. There's a saying I'm very fond of. If you're making small changes, you have to start off with a change that you could imagine doing the rest of your life. Think, could I do this the rest of my life? Yeah, then keep doing it. If you think no, it's probably unsustainable and you probably have to start off lighter. But anyways, fast forward to 2022, in the summer. We both met up in New York and we were eating some pizza at a restaurant. It was a Supreme pizza. You see, we're right back where we started. We went full circle. I was eating a Supreme pizza, and I was really enjoying it. I don't remember if it was my first time eating or if this was the second time, but anyways, she looked at me and she was like, "You've come very far. Like, I remember when we first met, you said you had never eaten Supreme pizza and like, it's way above you. You only eat, like, meat lovers and stuff like that. And now here you're eating, and now here you are eating a pizza with lots of vegetables on it. I can't even remember last time I had cheese pizza." So yeah, she was no longer critical. She was expressing pride in how far I've come, and it made me feel really, really great. And I know you're going to be proud of yourself just like I was when you eat that Supreme pizza. Now I'm healthier than her, arguably. She has a very healthy diet, but she seems to me like she eats lots of like grains, like rice and pasta, while I don't anymore. And also, I can't remember the last time I had a serious urge to eat fast food. The urges are still there a little bit, but it's no more than like a small like ding, and then like it's literally just like ding. It literally just lasts that long. It's weird. It's like you get the urge and you feel your brain like thinking of reasons to go get the fast food, and like you kind of want the fast food, but you just don't get it. It becomes easier and easier. But yeah, basically, like, I still get small urges, but, like, I know I'm not going to give in to them. There's literally just no reason to go get the fast food. And that's where I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you there. With 6 steps. I'm going to show you step by step how to get there, so don't worry. It's literally not up to you. Like, it's so easy that, like, you literally just have to understand the 6 steps, and you'll get it. Before we get into the 6 steps, let's discuss mindset, because the mindset is important. Don't skip this part. Definitely watch this part, because you need the mindset in order to put the pieces in order to follow all 6 steps. So, my mindset evolved over time. The mindset I had when I first started changing my diet was just be healthy. That's all it was. Literally just be healthy. Which the general idea that I had of healthiness at the time was eat less grains, eat less grains and sugar, eat more meat and vegetables, especially more vegetables and fruits, but vegetables were the key ones. And that's basically it. Like, you probably know 90% of it already. Like, that's literally most of it. Now, the mindset I have now is much different. The mindset I have now is be as healthy as you possibly can. Like, your diet, my diet is going to be one of the healthiest diets on the planet. That's no hesitation. Like, it's literally something like not micromanage, but like any little way I can make my diet healthier, I try to do it within limits of reasonability. Like, let's see, specific example. I found out that beans are not so good according to like because like the human body hasn't evolved to eat them that until very recently. So I was like, okay, no more regular beans then as part of my diet. I'll eat beans every now and then, but they're no longer a part of my regular diet, despite how delicious they are. Like it's literally like not even settling for just healthy. Like I want really, really healthy. Because it's not difficult, really. It's not you're not doing any action. You're literally just going to the store, buying foods, coming home, cooking them, and eating them. Like, it's gotten to the point where, like, improving my diet is no longer, it doesn't even feel like work. It's literally just, oh, I found out something new. Let me make an adjustment to my diet. It's literally just how I eat. And even though it's not even something you put effort to, you're still doing it better than most people. Like, you look at most... I wish I could explain this to you because you're a very unhealthy eater. But when you look at other people's foods, it's like, this is what they're eating? Like, I'm literally doing better than them by, like, it doesn't even take effort for me anymore. Like, that's the mindset you're eventually going to do, or, like, you're literally get enthusiastic about it. Like, I want to have the best diet in the world in terms of health. Like, I want to maximize my diet like it's a stat in a video game. I want my diet stat maxed out. That's the mindset you're going to eventually get when you're on this. But at the beginning, just being healthy is enough. So, the diet we're following is essentially similar to a paleo diet or a keto diet. I don't know too much about keto. The logic behind a paleo diet, or caveman diet as it was called when I first found it in middle school, is basically the human body has not evolved that much in the past, like, 10,000 years or so. I don't know exactly what it was. So I was like, we are optimized to basically eat the same way the hunter-gatherers ate. Like, before agrarian civilization settled, the way the hunter-gatherers ate. So basically following that diet, which is essentially only eating meats, vegetables, fruits, and nuts, with few exceptions. And you don't have to follow, and this is up to you at the end of the day. Like, the exact way you follow it is up to you. I'm not saying you have to do it this way, but this is the most optimal way I've found for me. So, step one, very simple. We're going to remove harmful liquids. So, no more soda, no more fruit juice, unless it's fruit juice you made yourself, meaning you made the lemonade yourself and you made the apple juice yourself or something like that with the fruits and water and with all the ingredients. No store-bought fruit juice, no soda, no chocolate milk. The only thing you are going to drink is water, coffee, tea, and maybe milk. The reason why I say maybe milk is because I would try to minimize the milk, because I remember when I first started this diet, I actually couldn't even drink milk because I didn't like the flavor. I could only drink strawberry or chocolate milk or milk with cereal or as a part of something else. I couldn't drink milk by itself. Now I can, but before I didn't. Not saying lactose intolerant, I'm just saying I didn't like the flavor. But so milk should be kept to a minimum. Like, you shouldn't be drinking it, like, a lot, because milk is like beans. Like, the human body hasn't really evolved to absorb it that well. Like, most people on the planet are literally lactose intolerant. Like, you fart if you drink. And even if you're not lactose intolerant, you're probably... Actually, that is what it is. You're probably farting a lot. Like, that shows you the human body isn't very evolved to drink it. Now, I think... This is gonna sound weird, but if you're not lactose intolerant, I would recommend you still keep drinking milk in some capacity, just because, like, it's part of your culture. Now, I know that sounds weird. Let me explain. Like, obviously, like, I'm not... no matter how strict the diet is, I wouldn't recommend, like, completely shunning cultural items. Like, if you're Indian and you have some Indian food that's, like, cultural, like, yeah, continue eating it by all means, even if it contains grains. I'm Hispanic. If I'm at a party with family, like, I'll still eat rice and beans, like, whatever, I don't care. Like, if it's a party or something, or a quesadilla or something like that. If you are a person who can drink milk without lactose intolerance, like that's in your DNA. Very few people in the planet are not lactose intolerant. Like it is in your DNA with your ancestors to drink milk. I know it's very common among white people, like embrace your European culture. Like drinking milk is embracing your European roots. I guess that's where I get it from, because I'm like part indigenous, part Spaniard. I guess the Spaniard is where I can drink milk from. So I'm embracing my European culture by drinking milk. Small tangent, but yeah. Limit your intake to water, coffee, tea, and milk. And obviously, like whole milk, not fat-free milk. Fat-free milk, they put a bunch of additives in it. A tea and coffee with like no or minimal sugar, obviously. And yeah, water. Me personally, I say you can drink coffee and tea and milk. Me personally, I just drink water. Like, I literally just drink water 99.99% of the time, just because I can't be bothered to make tea or coffee. I've never been a coffee drinker. In fact, the only coffee I can stand is, like, mocha latte, and that's too much sugar. So yeah, me personally, I just drink water. I know that sounds boring, but eventually you're gonna get to a point where, like, if you literally do this for, like, literally just a few weeks, you're gonna be like, yeah, why would I drink anything else? Like, I literally just don't care. So that's step one, eliminating the bad liquids. Step two, we're eliminating processed sweets. There's no real length for these steps, but I'd recommend, like, maybe 2 weeks for each one. Or a week. So, like, a week or two for each one, depending on how much you need. You can gauge it. Step two, processed sweets. So, no more Pop-Tarts, no more granola bars, no more cookies bought from ShopRite or whatever grocery store you go to. It's easy. Instead of listing all the things you can't eat, I'm going to list the things you can eat. So, from now on, if you want a sweet snack or something for a little bit of sugar, these are the only things you're allowed to eat. Fruits and honey. Not fruits in a fruit cup, because that has processed additives in it. Fruits from the store. Raw fruits that you wash and then just eat, like banana, strawberries, blueberries. And raw honey. You don't have to, like, just look at the bottle, make sure it only has one ingredient, honey, and make sure it says raw honey. That's it. Preferably from, like, a glass container with a metal lid instead of plastic. And some occasional stuff could be dark chocolate, like it has to say 85% or more. It's not like when you go to the candy section in your grocery store, there's going to be like Hershey's, Snickers, I almost said Tic Tacs, Snickers, Milky Way, none of that. It looks like it's in the shape, the package is in the shape of a flat bar. It's like a paper packaging, not plastic, and like you can't feel the metal, but it has metal inside. It will literally say 85% on the box. 80% or higher. Maybe, we're going to say 70% just to, actually, you know what, 50%. 80% or higher should be the goal, but since you're just starting out, like, we'll say 50% or higher. And even if it doesn't say 50%, as long as it looks like a healthy chocolate, like it has like orange or strawberry or sea salt in it or like almond, like you're gonna know what it looks like. It's like the healthy chocolate, like once you see the 85% chocolate and then you look at the others, like you'll know, like as long as it's one of those. But that's only occasionally. And definitely don't eat the whole bar, only like two squares at most. Dark chocolate and dairy products as long as they are whole milk, so like yogurt. So, the only sweets you'll be allowed to consume are fruits, honey, dark chocolate, and yogurt. Dark chocolate and yogurt very occasionally. Fruits and honey are the only ones you can eat on a daily basis. And that's sweets, so that shouldn't be all the time. That should be like... Actually, you know what? Eventually it will be a snack, but like you can eat those all the time at the beginning, because if you're a picky eater, you definitely have a huge sweet tooth. So while we're trying to get over your sweet tooth, like eat as much fruits as you want. Like do not limit yourself. Eat as much fruits as you want. Step 3, we're going to eliminate all processed foods. So at first we just eliminated the processed sweets. Now we're eliminating all processed foods. No pizza bought in boxes, no pizza rolls, no TV dinners, no chicken nuggets, no mac and cheese in a box, no, basically, I'm going to give you a rule of thumb for processed foods. So, well, first of all, the bad thing about processed foods are the seed oils and the high fructose corn syrup. The high fructose corn syrup is insanely bad, way worse than sugar. And the seed oils, not bad in and of themselves, but the fact that they're in everything now, like, you should not be consuming that much sunflower oil or soy, like, in one day. Anyways, instead of listing all the things you can't eat, I'm going to show you the things you can eat. 1 ingredient foods. So I'm going to give you 2 examples. So one is this peanut butter right here. I'm not going to show you the label, but you see, like, one is this. This is what processed peanut butter looks like. This is what healthy peanut butter looks like. The non-processed foods have single ingredients. When you go buy a bag of potatoes, there's no ingredients. The only ingredient is potatoes. When you go buy almonds, the only ingredient is almonds, maybe salt too if they added salt. Basically, healthy, non-processed foods only have 1 ingredient or very few ingredients, and you know what they all are, or they don't sound scientific. If any of the names sound scientific, don't eat it. Like, do not eat anything with a food that, like, you don't know. So basically, like, for example, this peanut butter right here. Ingredients: roasted peanuts, sugar, hydrogenated vegetable oil, don't know what that is, cottonseed, soybean, and rapeseed oil. Yeah, that right there shows you it's bad. This peanut butter, well, to boot, it's also in a glass container with a metal lid, like, way better than plastic. Ingredients: peanuts, contains 1% or less of salt. That's it. The only ingredients are peanuts or less than 1% salt. And, like, you can feel the difference when you eat these. Like, this is very creamy and easy to put a spoon through. This is, like, a lot more thick. Sometimes it has chunks of peanuts in it, a bit rougher. Like, this is natural. Another example, butter. Here we have fake, I can't believe it's not butter. Can't see the I can't believe it's not butter. And here we have real butter. Ingredients for I can't believe it's not butter: purified water, soybean oil, palm kernel and palm oil, olive oil, salt, lecithin, don't even know how to pronounce it, that's bad right there. Natural flavor, monoglycerides, don't know what those are, so no. Vinegar, vitamin A, palmitate, don't trust that. Beta carotene, don't trust that, contains milk and soy. My natural butter. Ingredients: pasteurized cream and sea salt. That's it. That sounds perfectly this is it. And again, you can tell the difference in, like, their consistency. This is, like, this is very creamy. You can easily put a spoon through it. That's not what butter is supposed to be like. Butter is supposed to be made of animal fat. It's supposed to be very tough. It's this, the butter sticks. Like, it's hard. You have to cut it with a knife. It's not soft, and that's what butter's supposed to be like. And on top of that, to boot, the packaging is paper, not plastic. Even better. If you just follow, so like I said, you can customize this plan to you. Like, if you just follow the 3 things I just mentioned, eliminating bad liquids, eliminating processed sweets, and then eliminating processed foods, you don't really have to do the rest. Like, this right here will give you most of the benefits. It's like, for those of you who aren't familiar with the 80-20 principle, like, there's this principle that says that 80% of the benefits come from 20% of the actions. This is the 20% that gives you 80% of the benefits. From here on out, it's diminishing returns. So if you just want to stop here, that's perfectly fine. This right here gives you most of the benefits. The next 2 points here are going to be talking about grains. So, step 4, we're going from grains to whole grains. So, you are no longer going to eat white bread. All of your bread now is going to be whole grain. Let me tell you how to pick out whole grains. You're probably going to walk through the grocery store, you're going to see whole grain, multigrain. Which one do I get? I'm going to tell you exactly which one to get. Only get bread that says whole grain, not made with whole grain. This is a very important distinction. Made with whole grain, like, in order to say that the bread is whole grain, it has to be made entirely of whole grain. if you make a bread with like half white bread and half whole grain, you can say made with whole grain because it was made with whole grain, but it's not all whole grain. So only get it if it says whole grain, not made with whole grain. And don't get multigrain. Multigrain is basically multigrain is basically the same scenario as made with whole grain. So yeah, that's how you select. Really easy. Only get it if it says whole grain. So yeah, switching as much of your grains as you can to whole grain. I'm gonna say white rice is fine. And the only reason I say that, like really, brown rice is better, but the reason why I'm saying white rice is okay is because I read on Healthline that apparently a lot of brown rice is carcinogenic. Carcinogenic means it may contribute to cancer. Because of the way brown rice is like farmed, like apparently a lot of like water that runs off into it may have chemicals in it that lead to cancer. Unless you get your brown rice specifically from like this one country where they definitely don't do it. I forget which country. So, and I guess white rice doesn't have this problem because they didn't say anything about it. So for the time being, white rice is perfectly fine. But for your sliced bread, get whole grain. And if it's not sliced bread, well, it's probably processed, so you shouldn't be eating it, regardless. Step 5. So step 4 was converting your grains to whole grains. Step 5 is eating minimal grains. Again, we're going in diminishing returns now, so like you can stop at any point you want and your diet will still be good. So, step 5, minimal grains. So basically what the ideal plate would look like here is essentially like a quarter rice, and the rest of it is meat and vegetables. Your dinner plate should be only, if we have a circle here, only 1/4, only 25% at most should be grains, and the rest of the plate should be meat and vegetables. So you get the idea. Maybe even 20%, so 1/5, something like that. So like the grains should be a very small part of your plate. This is the opposite of what you're probably doing now. Most people, especially Hispanic families, maybe Asian families, I'm not sure, like half the plate is rice. Or like 60 or 70% of the plate is rice, and only like 50 to 30% of the plate is actual meat and vegetables. Even worse if a lot of the protein is beans, because beans are not that good a source of protein. So basically we're doing the exact opposite. Grains should be the least on your plate. Meat and vegetables should be the rest. And as for nuts and fruits, well, that's a snack. Alright, and again, so this ends the second section. The second section is like the first section. The first section is most of your benefits. If you cut down to minimal grains or get whole grains, again, or both, again, that's most of the benefits. And now, the last point is if you really, really want to take it to the next level. If you want the healthiest diet possible. Again, this is the last step, so you're not going to get there at the beginning anyways. You're not going to get here for like quite a while, but the last step is no grains. No grains, because your diet is made up of 3 macronutrients. Micronutrients are vitamins and minerals. Macronutrients are fats, carbs, and protein. Protein and fats are necessary nutrients. Carbs are not very necessary. You really don't need to eat a lot of carbs. And the carbs that you do get, so you might be thinking, well, if I'm not eating grains, where am I getting my carbs from? Fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables have carbs in them. Most fruits and vegetables don't have that much carbs in them, but that's fine because you don't really need that many. But I'll tell you which ones do have. Bananas have lots of carbs. And I think the vegetable that has the most carbs is like sweet peas or green peas. So yeah, you should be eating lots of vegetables. For the beginning, like, you maybe diminish your fruits later because fruits have like sugar. At least it's natural sugar, but they have sugar, so you don't want to eat too much sugar. But that's like when you get to step 6. Like at the beginning, eat as much fruits as you can because we're trying to get you over your sweet tooth. But yeah, You should be eating lots of vegetables. Think of how your hunter-gatherer ancestors ate. They mostly ate meat and vegetables, meat and vegetables, meat and vegetables. And then they had nuts and fruits and honey as occasional treats when they could find them and when they weren't, like, bad, because the animals got to them for the most part. So yeah, meat and vegetables should be the most of your diet. Like, we're gonna get you eating lots of vegetables later. I'd say about 30% of your diet. So this is, like, again, more nitpicky. Like, you don't have to count calories. You don't have to, just judge by what you're seeing. So I'd say about 30% of your diet should be protein. Like, so chicken, eggs, beef, seafood, like fish, mussels, clams, oysters. And 25 to 30% of your diet should be fats. Fats are eggs, avocado, butter, and nuts. Avocado and butter are excellent sources of fats. Do not hesitate to eat avocado and butter. Put butter on all your meat. Again, sugar is the main contributor to you being fat. Sugar and processed food, high fructose corn syrup, all that stuff, and sweeteners. The actual fat in butter will not make you very fat. And now, perfection. So I'm not expecting you to be perfect. You can have grains and white bread when you go out to eat with a restaurant. If it's your birthday, if it's a celebration, like once a month, yeah, totally. Like, you don't have to be perfect. You can still eat pasta like once a month. You can maybe twice a month. You can still have a special night out. This is your regular diet. Like regular eating, everyday stuff. This should be obvious, but you're not going to be eating out a lot. So yeah, I'm not perfect. I still don't follow this perfectly, but this is like the way to get your diet as perfect as possible. Don't count calories, because that's just like, that's a good result of this is that, like, so eat when you get to like 70 or 80% full. That's a good gauge for like when you should stop eating. And under this diet, you should you'll only really need to eat 1 to 2 meals a day, but feel free to eat 3. So, what are the results of this diet? 1, we're diminishing your hyperstimulation so you could eat more vegetables. That is the essence of a healthy diet. You need to eat more vegetables. You probably already eat some fruits. Eating more fruits is not much of a problem because fruits are already sweet. We're diminishing your grains and your processed foods and your sweets so that when you're used to these foods, they hyperstimulate you. The more sugar you eat, the more it creates this bacteria in your stomach that wants sugar. It needs sugar to be alive. This bacteria in your stomach makes you crave more sugar. The less sugar you eat, this bacteria dies off. So, by diminishing the processed foods and the sweets in your diet, we are diminishing your hyperstimulation, and this means that you have a lower baseline for flavor, meaning that vegetables will now start to actually taste bearable to you. Some of that, eventually, they'll even taste good. Carrots taste good to me. I used to hate carrots. I used to hate them even though they're sweet because, like, they're a sweet vegetable. It felt like an uncanny valley thing. I hated them. I love them now. And you can get to the point where you love carrots too. I love string beans. I love sweet peas. I like this stuff. And the reason, you eventually get to the point where you no longer crave like greasy or sugary food. Like eating grains now, eating pasta or cereal, it doesn't feel like I've had a real meal. To me, it doesn't feel like a real meal if there's no vegetables and meat. Even fruits feel like a snack to me now. You start to like crave that crisp, watery sensation of vegetables. Like it's the only, like that's real food. Like Pop-Tarts don't fill you anymore. So yeah, basically we're lowering your hyperstimulation so that you can actually eat vegetables. Another one of the results is that I feel prouder even though I haven't exercised. And that's really what you want. That's the whole point of this video. We're trying to get you to slim down without exercising because you don't want to build muscle because they'll ruin your perfect femboy body. When I say that this diet makes me feel prouder even though I haven't been exercising because of the physical therapy for the nerves in my arms, like every meal is a cause for celebration. Like, everyone else even is out there eating junk food. Everyone else in my family is eating rice and beans, not much vegetables and meat. And I'm sitting here eating a plate of just vegetables and chicken made with butter and avocado. So I know I'm getting all my necessary nutrients in, and I'm only drinking water. Like, and for sweets, for treats, I'm eating fruits and nuts. Maybe a dark chocolate every now and then. Like, you're doing something that most people cannot fathom doing, and it's just eating. It feels incredible. Like, you literally feel powerful. And like the other day, my mom made a full bowl of pasta with chicken in it. I didn't eat any of it because it was grains. I just made my own chicken and vegetables, and it felt amazing. I got pride literally just by not eating pasta. When you only eat healthy food, like there's, first of all, you actually feel healthier because of your body, but like I also like psychologically feel healthier knowing that I know exactly what I'm putting into my body. It feels like my body is fueled by divine power, as cheesy as that sounds. Also, it gives you, I haven't once experienced being bloated after eating. Back when I was at college and back before I was like eating healthily, I would overeat all the time. I would overestimate the amount of food I could eat, and I would eat to the point where I was full, to the point where it hurt, like my belly was bursting. I don't eat that way anymore. And why did I used to eat that way? Because of the grains and processed food. Processed food and grains, there's this chemical, I forgot what it's called. It sends a signal to your brain when you're full. In a natural environment, fruits and vegetables and meat and nuts, like natural foods, they just send the signal to your brain. Like they're supposed to, that's how they work. But processed food and grains do not send the signal, or they send the signal much later, or they actually send the signal that makes you hungrier. Like, in fact, I think soda actually does make you hungrier. It's like when you eat unnatural foods, you don't have a proper gauge of when you're full because they don't send the correct signals to your brain telling you that you're full. But when you just eat these healthy foods, you just naturally stop at the 70 to 80% mark where you're 70 to 80% full. And you don't overeat unless you make the conscious choice to, because you have a natural gauge of where to stop. You won't feel tired or bloated, so you won't feel tired or bloated afterwards. There will be less interruptions in your schedule. When you just naturally eat like this, you'll find that you can function on like 1 or 2 meals a day just fine. Eat 3 meals a day if you feel the need to, but less interruptions in your schedule. Quicker grocery trips. You literally skip 90% of the grocery store. You just get your vegetables and fruits and nuts, which are all in the beginning section, then go to the meat section, put in the meat, then go to the dairy section for butter, eggs, and milk. Maybe a few things here and there, like the candy section for like natural chocolate, honey, some spices, and salt. Like, you literally skip 90% of the grocery store. So quicker grocery trips, except at first. At first, you're going to last longer because you're actually finding the places where to get these ingredients, because you've been eating processed food this whole time, so you don't know where all the stuff is located. And you'll also get good comparisons every time you go to the grocery store, because you'll look at other people's carts and you'll see, oh, Honey Nut Cheerios, oh, Captain Crunch, lots of processed, like, you'll see, like, wow, I'm literally healthier than most of the people here. Unless you're shopping at Whole Foods. And even then, following this diet, you'll still be healthier than most of the people who I've seen who shop at Whole Foods. And there's less decision fatigue. When you follow this diet, you will naturally find yourself having repeat meals. Me personally, I have the same meal every day. And that's amazing because there's less decision fatigue. You don't have all these boxes of processed foods to choose from. Like, no, you know what you're going to eat, the vegetables and meat that you bought. Very simple. And there will be much less things in your fridge. And the last few benefits, baseline dopamine increase, you'll be satisfied with less. So like all these processed foods, because of how hyperstimulating they are, your dopamine spikes a lot and then it drops really low. Like the bigger the dopamine spike, the lower your baseline dopamine is, so you feel more miserable throughout the day. Now that you're eating less sugar and processed foods, your baseline dopamine is going up, meaning you're just naturally happier throughout the day, and you'll be satisfied with less. You no longer need to eat a chicken quesadilla in order to feel good. You'll be fine just eating meat and vegetables. Like, a treat for me used to be a cake or going to KFC to get a chicken quesadilla or a fried chicken sandwich. You know what a treat for me now is? Like a really godly level treat? A piece of toasted white bread with peanut butter. Natural peanut butter. That's literally a treat for me now. Literally just bread with peanut butter is a treat for me because I barely get to eat those things. Your baseline happiness will go up and you'll naturally be satisfied with less. Your desire to eat grains, grease, and sugar will retreat because of your diminishing stomach bacteria. And those last 2 points, like, that's really what this is all about. It's about first making the desires go away and then replacing it with a new desire. Because when you desire it, it's easy. So remember, like, the first few steps. First, we're getting rid of the bad drinks, then we're getting rid of processed sugar, then we're getting rid of all processed foods. Notice, at first, all we're doing is getting rid of stuff. First, we have to get rid of the bad desires so that your baseline happiness will go up and you'll be satisfied with less. And now, you're satisfied with meat and vegetables. Now you actually desire the natural stuff. And then we hype that up even more by going from white grains to full whole grains, then minimizing the grains, then no grains. First we have to get rid of the bad stuff, then you just naturally desire the good stuff. And it's important to desire it, because if you desire it, it doesn't require discipline. If you desire it, it's effortless. That's how it is for me now. It's effortless eating healthy. And it's also nearly effortless resisting. At the stage you're at now, resisting all this unhealthy food is probably very difficult, but if you just take it out of your life, the desire to eat it lessens and lessens and lessens and lessens. Occasionally you'll get urges and occasionally you'll give in, but eventually you'll get to a point, like within 6 months it should be, where you'll just won't desire that stuff. Little urges maybe, but it's like pinpricks. And when you don't desire it, you don't need discipline to avoid it. Like, do you need desire to not go to a gambling casino? Probably not. You probably just don't have a desire to gamble. It doesn't even occur to you. It's the same way with me and like a lot of former junk food. It literally just doesn't occur to me to buy Pop-Tarts. I don't have to resist. So yeah, that's the main takeaway. I hope you learned something from this video. Remember, it's not learning if your behavior doesn't change. If there's something you want to do, make it effortless. Bye-bye.